All right, so today's topic is going to be isolation exercises versus compound exercises. Now, a compound exercise means you're using two or more joints throughout the movement. So something like a squat or a bench press, because in a squat you're using your knee joint, you're using your hip joint. In a bench press, you're using your elbow joint, you're using your shoulder joint. So anything that's more than two joints, it means it's recruiting a whole lot more muscles than an isolation exercise which only uses the one joint. So something like a bicep curl, because you're only using your elbow joint to move the weight. Something like a lateral raise, because you're only using your shoulder joint. So in saying that, when you're only using the one joint, you're only going to be using the primary mover muscle group. So let's use a bicep curl for instance again. The way that you're bringing your forearm up, moving that elbow joint, is because you're shortening your bicep muscle, and that means that that's the main muscle you'd be using, and there's probably not going to be many other muscles getting used. Where if you were doing a squat, you're using your hamstrings, you're using your quads, you're using your glutes. Like, there's so many muscle groups getting fired up to do that movement. So just a few examples of some compound movements. There's squats, there's bench press, there's shoulder press, there's deadlifts, there's leg press, there's lunges, pull downs, seated rows, all that kind of thing. Anything, like I said, anything that's moving two joints or more, that's a compound movement. And then there's some examples for isolation exercises, which would be like bicep curls, lateral raises, leg extensions, leg curls. Anything that's just moving the one joint and is recruiting one, possibly two muscle groups, they're isolation exercises. Now, benefits of compound exercises would be you're burning a lot more calories throughout the movement because you're recruiting a lot more muscle groups. So it can benefit a lot with cardiovascular. Things like balance and coordination, it definitely helps with as well. It's something that you should definitely do at the start of your workout, because like I said before, you're recruiting a lot more muscle groups. The movements are a lot more advanced, and you need to make sure that you're fully energized so that you can potentially push as much weight as you can throughout that movement. Now, isolation exercises are more for like balancing out the muscle groups. So if you have one side that's stronger than the other, then you can utilize isolation exercises so that you're just working that one side and you're pushing the same weight as the other side. Whereas if you're doing like a bench press where you can potentially use one side more than the other and you wouldn't even know, that's going to be an imbalance. So because it's using less muscle groups as an isolation exercise, that's why I try and put my isolation exercises at the end of my workouts, so that I can utilize any energy that I have left, and I can focus a lot more on the squeeze and the time under tension, and just trying to make sure that that muscle is getting as much blood in there as I possibly can, because blood promotes muscle growth and recovery, and that's what we want at the end of our workouts. Just think about it like this. Compound exercises are more to build the base of your physique, and then the isolation exercises are more the fine detail. So as a bodybuilder, compounds, they're going to build everything up, and then the isolations are going to build that overall symmetry and balance.